take a little break from the garage. We're going to go out to Greece, New York, and we're going to take a look at the sites that's called the Junction lock and the dry dock. So let's head out there and have a look at what remains. The area we're going to today is right in here. That's where the Greece dry docks are located, and the Junction lock right here. The green line is the Erie Canal as it travels today. The red line is the Erie Canal, the original Erie Canal, where it continued on into Rochester. The Erie Canal followed this red line. Right in here is where the dry docks are located. Right up in here is the Junction lock, south end, north end, and the green line is the Erie Canal the way it travels today. This is a diagram of the area that we're going to walk through. We're going to enter down here. We're going to follow the old towpath. Looking to the left, you can see the wall, one remaining wall of the dry dock. There would have been another wall over here, which is gone now. Continuing up the path, right here is where there's a culvert underneath the entire canal bed. And then we encounter the north end of the Junction lock. This is where the gates were located. And there was a walkway between the gates at the south end. Now here's the Erie Canal today. This is where it diverted off to the original Erie Canal. Boats would have to come through this lock. The water in this area would have been higher than down here, so they had to go through this lock to continue on. The dry dock was 60 feet across, and the question is, they built it for large barges which were too big to get through this lock. Evidently they thought at some point they would open this up and bring larger canal boats to the dry dock, but that never happened. The original lock foundations are still there. So let's hit this towpath and see what it looks like. This was an original location of the Erie Canal, built in early 1800s, finished about 1825. It went right through here, continued on into Rochester, New York. But this area was rebuilt as part of the barge canal, and they were going to use it as a dry dock. But as the sign says, they don't think they ever used it because the boats were too big. Anyway, follow along. Should be an interesting journey. This video was recorded in 2 visits, so you're going to see some snow in some of the scenes, and then later on there will be no snow. We are looking at the remains of the grease dry docks and the old barge canal. This is the original site of the original early 1800s Erie Canal. It was widened to make the barge canal, which was rerouted around Rochester, but they maintain this section here as a dry dock, which according to the historical records now, in the early 1900s, they never even used it after they built it because the barges were too large for this dry dock. So we're going to take a walk on down the trail, and we're going to look at the area where the old Erie Canal tied into the newer barge canal. Also along this trail there is a culvert down in here which goes completely underneath the original canal. And I do believe it comes out way over in here somewhere. Let's take a little walk down here and see if we can see the other side of that culvert. Yep, I think this is it. Goes in right down there. Let's see if we can get down closer without falling. Yeah, we did slide. There it is. The stone culvert, which is probably built in the early 1800s under the original Erie Canal. You can see the other end way down there. And next to the culvert is an embankment and a retainer wall that was probably built in the early 1800s. This had to be original Erie Canal. They had to build up this whole bank to hold the water, and this had to be a retainer wall possibly, because it's out in a big open space here, so it just looks like a retainer wall. Oh, there's a burrow under there. Probably a woodchuck or something. Yeah, this dates back to the early 1800s. It's probably a embankment to hold up this wall that they built here. Of course, this is the inlet side of the culvert. In a moment, we're going to jump over to the outlet side. We're down here at the outlet of the culvert. We had to climb down this long hill here. So this is the other end. Look at that. Early 1800s stones. And then it continues on down and goes under the road up ahead. I'm going to take a walk over here and stand on the top of the culvert outlet. Take a look straight down. You got a tree falling across here. Now continuing back on the towpath. Up ahead are the lock remains where boats could choose to take the barge canal around Rochester, or they could come down through here and follow the old Erie Canal into the Rochester area. And at some point this area was shut down and the barge canal was the only route. So what we're looking at here is the old Junction locks. We are right in this area right now. And as you can see, it's pretty narrow up here. So anything passing through here had to be pretty small to get down that way to the dry docks, which were 60 feet wide. And you can see where the lock gates fit into this cutout in the wall, and the same thing over there. And they got a nice tie-up point here, still remains, and another one over on that side. So up ahead we're gonna meet the barge canal, which is now completely gated off from this area. Anyway, we're walking on the original towpath of the Erie Canal, which dates back to 1825. We are now at the south end of the lock and the junction with the barge canal. As we look at the south end of the junction lock, we're going to take note of the 3 notches in the concrete that held the walkway, and then we're going to go down and we're going to look at the 3 notches at the north end. As you saw in the diagram, this is the barge canal, and this is where it intersects. Barge canal runs along out there, and it intersects into the old Erie Canal right here. This was the southern end lock. It's been all backfilled now. This this concrete foundation we're walking on was built for the lock itself. These notches held the gates, and they've constructed a makeshift design here that looks like a gate. And then beyond this fill is the bed of the original Erie Canal. So right now we're standing in the middle of where the lock gates would have been. This is the south end of the lock. It's been filled in, and as mentioned on the other sign, 3 notches were used to attach a walkway between the lock gates. And here are the 3 notches at the south end. Now we'll take a walk down and look at those. I'm going to take a hike down the middle of the canal bed to the other end of the lock, which is the north gates. There was a walkway between here and the north end, held up by 2 stone abutments midway We'll see if we can find any remains of that. Okay, we're headed down into the canal bed. This was the original Erie Canal at its 7-foot deep stage. Looking back at the southern lock, they backfilled it, put a cement wall there to block the barge canal water from coming into here. Again, this area was used from the early 1800s until the early 1900s. Now this walkway that went down through here was supported by 2 stone-filled abutments. I don't see anything remaining from those. And we're almost at the north end of the lock, the second set of gates. You can see the concrete walls up ahead. And we're going to look down here at the 3 notches that held the walkway. And they're right up there. 1, 2, and 3 right on the edge. So the walkway continued all the way up to the other end, the south lock gate. These notches held the gates. The hinges would have been right in this area, and you can see it's rounded out. The bolts still sticking out. The gate pivoted like this. This photo is not the Erie Canal, but an old lock gate would look something like this. And I'm guessing the width here is maybe about 15 feet. So any boats going through here could be no larger than 15 feet wide. And there's some scrapes along the wall where some boats probably came very close. Now we're continuing north. The canal widened out after the lock. And it's pretty well undergrown down through here. I don't know how far I want to walk through this. Okay, we're back down in the bed of the canal. Still heading north. Again, I did this video in 2 visits. The first visit, there was some snow on the ground. It was a fairly warm day. Now I'm back and the greenery is starting to pop up all over the place. Eventually you wouldn't even want to walk through this area. It'll probably get so thick. And it was quite wide in this area. But again, they only ran about 7 feet deep. This being the old section of the Erie Canal.
In the next scene, we're going to be back at the dry dock location that I explored in my first visit. You'll see snow on the ground. And now we walk down through here and we're going to explore this wall, part of the dry dock.
Well, I've crossed over to look at this wall that was built in the early 1900s as part of the dry dock. And you can see that it was concrete at the time. It's quite long, 60 feet to the other side. And they had a rail that went along the top. There's still screws sticking out that are bolted onto. And here we are at the other end of the dry dock wall. Extends probably a football field down through, and all this was the hollow for the dry dock area. Okay, we're down in the pit of the dry docks. We're trying to get across. There's a lot of water here, a lot of swamp. The vehicles are parked right up there. Still trying to get there. We got a log, maybe we can cross right here. Let's give it a try. We made it.
Well, there you go. Hope you enjoyed the little journey along the small portion of the Erie Canal. If you enjoyed, please subscribe and click the like button. Leave a comment if you care to. Again, thanks for watching.